Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV. Ben Jacobs will be joining us anytime. What's going on? Sorry, guys. I don't know why it's doing that. Why is it doing that? Right, I had a bit of I had a bit of a technical issue. I don't know what's happened there. There we go. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV, guys. I hope you're well wherever it is that you may be around the world. Ben Jacobs will be joining us very shortly to discuss some of the news in and around Chelsea. Malo, Enzo Fernandez, Moise Caicedo, Hakim Ziyech, and any other midfield links to Chelsea Football Club, which we'll be discussing on today's show. I thought I'd just start it for now. He'll come through in a bit, go through the chat, say hello to you as always. Before we move forward, let's cue the intro, guys. Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you guys are well wherever it is that you may be around the world. Smash them likes, guys. Let's get them likes up, both on Chelsea Fan TV and GNA TV. Over 150 of you guys here already as well. Welcome, every single one of you. It is Friday. It is the weekend. If you guys are on your way home or maybe still at work, finishing off, getting them last hours in, then just sitting on your phone with your headphones in, listening to me. Big up to every single one of you that are actually here as well. Lots to discuss, hey? Malo to Chelsea. What's going on is the question mark. Will Chelsea increase their bid? We got a tweet that came out from Bobby Vincent, actually, that confirmed on Malo that apparently Chelsea's first initial offer for him was around 20 million sterling. That was Tuesday evening as well. No movement as of right now. We're being told that we need to probably hit around 35 to 40 million euros is what we've been told. The Lyon president seems to feel that he ain't going anywhere, along with the manager as well, Laurent Blanc as well. So what are Chelsea going to do? We feel that there's going to be one more signing, potential one or two more signings. I don't know is the answer. I don't know. Deadline day's around the corner on the 31st. And now we want to try and find out, will Chelsea act upon? Now we've got some tweets coming out saying that Chelsea will act on going back for Gusto. They have no intent of pretty much listening to what the Lyon president said and the manager as well. They probably believe that money can talk, but will Chelsea lay the 40 million euros to bring him in? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. We'll ask Ben Jacobs when he arrives. We're also going to talk about Moises Caicedo, because obviously Arsenal have approached him for a bid as well of 60 million, which got turned down and confirmed by Ornstein himself. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me. We're being told that Arsenal are going to go back for Moises Caicedo, even though people like Ben Jacobs, who are joining us soon, have made it very clear that Brighton are not selling him. That Brighton don't want to sell the player. Will Chelsea go into a bidding war with Arsenal for Caicedo, coming close to the January, obviously coming close to the January deadline date, which is obviously the 31st, Tuesday, guys. And then we go on to Enzo Fernandez. And I feel that we've, as Chelsea fans, kind of conceded to the fact that maybe we're just not going to get this done. However, there is still some conflicting reports that keep saying that Chelsea are going to go in again for Enzo Fernandez. So, I don't know. And on top of all of this, we're being told that there's a potential that Chelsea might even loan a player for midfield just till the end of the window. We already got turned away from Onana from Everton, who's not interested in coming to Chelsea Football Club as well. So where do we go? Are Chelsea going to, out the blue, bring something out of thin air, like they did with the Mudryk deal, like they have done with some other various deals as well? Are we going to be surprised by any sort of deal via Chelsea before the end of the window? We were told one more, potentially two more. Fabrizio Romano said a couple of days ago that in the last 2 days of the transfer window, expect Chelsea to be busy, expect Chelsea to still be active. Are we going to panic buy? Are we going to look to bring in players that maybe we shouldn't do? Maybe option threes, option fours? I don't know. I don't know if I want us to do that. You know, I want our priorities for midfield. I think it's about priorities. If you can't get your priorities, don't go and get a third and fourth signing. That is what I would say. In terms of the right back, you know, Malo Gusto for how much he's going for, I just don't I don't know. I don't get why we just don't get it done. If the money is that and we need a right back and he's a top quality right back in Malo Gusto, why don't we just lay the funds? Even if Lauren Blanc and the Leon president are saying no, forget it, you're not getting your player. Just get it done. Just get it done. Do you know what I mean? Money talks, guys. And that's what I'm saying. If Chelsea are serious about sorting out their areas, I'm talking about right back more than the midfield at the moment because I'm just not sure the midfield. Go and get it done. What are we waiting for? So we were asked Ben Jacobs when he arrives very shortly. When he arrives very shortly with us as well. Let me put the link address in for him again, just in case he hasn't got it. There we go. Yeah, he's running a bit late. I said I'd start the show, obviously, without him, and he's going to come through very shortly to give us some updates. In the meantime, let's go through the chat. Say hello to everyone, as always. See what you guys are up to. Lee Taylor, big up to you. Leo, nice to see you as well. Matthew, Georgie as well. Nice to see you as well in the house. Ashraf, nice to see you. Gary, Liam Lane, KSA man, what you saying? Enzo, Caicedo and Gusto because we just have 4 days left. He feels we're not going to get any of them. Big up to Steve as well. We've got Nihan here as well. We've got CFC Stephen too. Big up to him. Nice to see him in the house. Christian, nice to see you. Joseph. Sam, big up to you. Nice to see you in the house. Hope you're good. Courtney, nice to see you. Erin, Ashraf. Jim, would you receive rather Caicedo and Gusto or just Enzo? That's a good question now. That is a good question. And it's a question that on the logical side would make sense to just get Caicedo and Gusto, right? Because they're two areas that we need to sort. And if we can get two areas in one, then why not? But Enzo Fernandez, and I keep telling you about this guy. Enzo Fernandez is the guy. This guy is a serious player. And if we can, if we don't get him in January, we've got to try and get him. We've got to try and get him in the summer window. I know it's going to be harder and whatever else, but I'm telling you, we will regret it. I keep telling people this. We will regret it if Enzo Fernandez goes to another top European club. And yeah, we don't get him, but we'll see. Big up to John Anderson. Nice to see you. Courtney, nice to see you in the house. Hope we don't panic buy. Gary, nice to see you. David Stevenson as well. I think we will trigger Enzo's release clause on deadline. He thinks there's going to be one more big bang from Chelsea on deadline day. Let me ask you guys this. Do you think we are going to get a midfielder? How confident are you that Chelsea will make a bid for a midfielder? And if you are, who do you think we are going to go for? I'll ask every single one of you. There's nearly 300 of you here already. 8 minutes in. Big up. Ben Jacobs to come on very shortly. He's just finishing off where he is. Rather taking Fernandez. Yep, I agree. Who else we've got here? Zach, nice to see you. Says man like Jem. Big up to you, bro. Hope you're well. Nice to see you in the building. Zibbo, nice to see you. Catman, don't speak. Just pay for Gusto. I think it's getting to that point. I'll be honest, I really do. Seeing you're talking about Dumfries, isn't you? Big up. We've got Matty in the house as well. What a pointless window. Signed attackers, one defender, yet no DM and no right back. Seriously, what was the fucking point? Well, that's a bit of a shitty way to look at it, Matty, isn't it? Let's be serious. We know how bad our forward line is, so they've kind of tried to address that and they've done a good job in a short window. They've also gone and bought a defender that's come in and actually fitted in quite well. So again, which we wasn't sure on in Badishile. Still early doors, but decent. But yeah, I would like to. I agree in terms of maybe one more, but I would say it's a shit transfer window in my opinion. I just don't think it was a 10 out of 10 at the moment for me. That if we don't get Gusto and we don't get a midfielder, I think it's got to be a 6.5 out of 10 window for me. Let me know in the chat what you think as well. Let me know in the chat what you think. Let me know in the chat what you think as well. Big up to Jose in the house. Nice to see you, bro. Deal CFC as well. Big up to every single one of you guys that are here. We don't sign a midfielder. And we don't sign a right back, guys. What do you rate this window out of? 1 to 10. I want to know everyone's thoughts and feelings in the chat now. Come on, let's see it. Over 300 of you here. Ben Jacobs is on his way soon as well. 60% confident, to be fair. Okay, you're talking about my question about no chance of Enzo. Don't think we got one. Gusto signed back, loan back to the Leon is what he feels. Modric's going to be a superstar. Yeah, that's good news, man. That is the one thing I would say, Dominic, that I am happy about. Anthony Gordon not linked to this football club ever again. Why? Why were we even linked to him? Why? Why would we link to Anthony Gordon? Do you know what I mean? Like, nah, mate. Nah. No good. No good. So everyone's saying this is, again, everyone's rating the windows out of 10. We've got a 7 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 7 out of 10. I think we signed Lavia. No one is talking about him. Really? When do you think we'll sign him? When do you think we'll sign him? Dills has gone with an 8. We've got a 7. We've got another 7 here from Robert as well. He's giving a 7 as well. Mudryk alone is a 10 out of 10 for Zayden. 5 out of 10 for Charles as well. 5 out of 10 here. Yeah, I know. I'm happy, man. I'm so happy that 7 out of 10. 7. So you guys are actually quite satisfied. Dumfries is a weird one for me because some people, he's like Marmite. Some people like him. Some people hate him. For what I've seen of him, I think he's okay. I'm just not too sure if he's consistent. And the people that have watched him in Italy say that he's not a very consistent performer, which is shit, really, when you think about it. But yeah, yeah, it is what it is. 7.5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Dumfries, no. Why are all the fans blaming Bowley for our poor squad when under Roman we didn't have a good window in 5 years? That's true. There's quite a lot of facts to that. I agree as well. People kind of forget what the owners took on from the back end of the board, and some of the poor signings that we made. Some still on loan. Some, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Tell you want to go down that route right now, but yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, man. What's everyone else saying? 6.5. Get me a midfielder. Alan Valera is what we've got in here. 6.5. Sign Malo Gusto. Alan Variella. Who is that? Who is that? Oh, is he? Let's have a look. Let's have a look what Fab said quickly. Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio Romano is supposedly bought something out. Let's have a look. That was 4 hours ago. Interesting. So we do have something from Fabrizio Romano on Moises Caicedo. And obviously we're going to ask Ben Jacobs when he arrives shortly as well. De Zerbi on 60 million bid for Arsenal for Moises Caicedo. He is only focused on Brighton. I understand he has the chance to go to a very big team, but I hope he can stay with us until the end of the season. My opinion is that the best solution for him and us. That's the manager. There you go. So there is interest. There is interest for the player. Whether it's Arsenal, whether it's Chelsea, things can change. We've seen how quick Chelsea act within the window when they want their targets. Let's not rule us out, even though Arsenal were testing the waters with the 60 mil, which, may I say, was never going to be accepted. We knew it was never going to be accepted. Let's be serious. They just tried to test the waters, you know. Big up to John Anderson in the house as well. If you deep it, this window is similar to the window under Lampard. Signed loads of attackers and centre-backs. Didn't address the midfield, just like the... True, when you think about it. Yeah, you know, we've got attackers again, because the attackers we have weren't good. Yeah, one defender, and we've not bothered about about the midfield or the right back area. We've neglected it so far. Who's to say that Chelsea might not do that? It might be a case that we do go in and try and get it done in the last sort of couple of days. But Dennis says, ask Ben about Lavia. Yeah, hoping he should be here very shortly, guys. He said 45, but he's obviously a bit busy. We are just waiting for Mr. Ben Jacobs to come across soon. But yeah, there we go. There we go about Caicedo. Not my first choice. In my opinion, I would prefer Enzo Fernandez. He will always be the first choice for me. Yes, he's a lot of money and people moan about the money, but he's the guy I want, man. He is the guy that I want at the club. He's the guy that I want at the club, man. If we don't get Enzo this window, we are going to lose him in the summer to a team that actually has champs and is going to hurt. Joel, preach. Say it louder. Let the people, let everyone hear that speech. I agree. I actually genuinely agree with that as well. I do think that I think we will regret it if we don't get him. We won't sign anyone else, so I'd be surprised if we do, is what Corey's saying. Ask Ben if we have other options for right back. We can ask a question, KSA. Jem, would you take Kessie from Barcelona on loan? Good question. The answer to that is no. I wouldn't. I know some people liked Kessie for what he did at Milan, but I just look at everyone that's gone to Barcelona. It's quite funny. Rafinha, Kessie, Lewandowski, all right. He's you can put him aside. Koundé, Christensen, you look at the midfield specifically in Kessie. I don't think they're having good seasons. And if we will get Kessie, it'll be on a loan. We've got N'Golo Kante coming back in February. We've got Kovacic who's going to return for the Fulham game, and we've got Jorginho that never gets injured. So, and we just don't know what's going on with Zakaria. How long is Zakaria going to be out for Chelsea? That's the other thing as well. We have to wait and see. They're wasting time to get Alvarez and I don't think we'll get Porro because of the relationship between João Felix and him is not good. Chelsea says we're not getting a midfielder. Some people are confident, some people are not confident. Some people think we're going to do it on deadline day. I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see. Chelsea should get Enzo, but they need to give Benfica 2 players. Well, why I thought that Caicedo might happen was because Brighton were being active with trying to find a midfielder. And obviously they went to Leipzig for their player, Haidara, I think it was, that they tried to get. And that kind of action kind of leads to what De Zerbi's saying here, the manager, because he's saying that there's a big club in for him, but we hope that he stays. So again, he's not even sure. And we read again, he's only focused on Brighton. I understand that he has a chance to go to a very big team. Yeah, whoever that is, Chelsea, Arsenal, whatever. But when you deep the situation, Brighton are trying to run around to get a midfielder, from what we've been told. Why would they do that if they're not worried about losing the player? That's the big question mark there. Alhambra says that it's a 7 out of 10 window so far. We're creating a fluid attack, inverted wingers, and false 9. Nkunku, Felix, Gusto gives options to Reece James as a 6, Enzo 10 out of 10. Oh, look, if we got Enzo Fernandez out of the blue and we somehow pull off Malo Gusto, that is a 10 out of 10 window. Like, you can't get a better window than that for me. I just don't think we're going to do it. I actually thought we were going to sign one more player, and I thought it would have been Malo Gusto, but now that seems to be getting a bit harder. But then again, money does talk, so I'm still quite optimistic when it comes to Malo Gusto, Thank you for the donation, though, Alhambra. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Lee Taylor says it's been reported the Champions League is essential for Havertz next season. Start of angling for a more move, perhaps with Bayern sniffing around. Again, I don't really know how much I believe in that, because that was from Florian Plettenberg, who came out about a day ago saying that they're not interested in him, they don't want him. Then all of a sudden, Havertz wants Champions League football. He's in Bayern, are looking at keeping an eye on him, and they would want him for around 50 mil. I don't really know how much I believe in that, to be honest. Todd should go out and buy the window, slap 8.5 years. Well, this is the other thing, Blue Star, because this is, if we are going to get slapped with a 5-year cap from FFP in the summer, obviously because of what Chelsea have done up to this point on signing players, then it would make a lot more sense for Chelsea to go and buy one more big player and maybe a right back like Gusto. I'm not joking. I know it would be a lot of money to do, but get it done so you can spread the costs over an 8-year contract. Get it done. Let's not wait to the summer so that we have to then deal with a cap of 5 years, and it then makes it a lot harder for us. Do you know what I mean? It makes it a lot harder for us to sell him as well. So I don't know. You know, we will see what Chelsea do and how we move. The only thing I would say, and I think is very funny, and all of this is that Todd Bowley, Jesus, he is running a bit late. Oh, is it? I thought he was coming a bit later. Oh, right. Okay, cool. Ben, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I can imagine. The transfer deadline day around the corner and you're running around left, right and centre, right? At the moment, I'm imagining.
It is busy times, to say the least, but good to be here.
Yes, as always. Let's get into it, because obviously I know you're in a bit of a mad rush anyway. So let's start with Caicedo, because obviously I saw your reports on him as well. It's talked around that Arsenal have put a 60 million bid in for him. That's been rejected, which doesn't surprise me. Could Chelsea go into a bidding war with Arsenal for him? I don't know. We just read the comments from the Brighton manager himself saying that there is a big club in for him. However, he's focused on Brighton. What do you know? And what are your thoughts on Caicedo potentially moving away?
Well, there's two big clubs in for the player. Chelsea obviously have had the longest standing interest in their own rejected bid, and Arsenal bid more in terms of the fixed amount, but still well off Brighton's valuation. So the situation hasn't really changed a great deal, other than on the new agent side. And from Caicedo's perspective, both are still pushing for a move and not giving up. Brighton are still ultimately saying that the player's not for sale. And I don't think, contrary to some reports, that we're going to see any antics from Caicedo, maybe a few clues. He'll clearly make his position internally to Brighton clear, but we're not, for example, going to see him not turn up for training and try and force the move in the way that Anthony Gordon has just done to Newcastle United. But this is still all going to be about the financials behind the deal. And as I've reported many, many times, dating all the way back to December, 75 million is the target, whereby, if it's hit, Brighton will be forced to have a conversation, because that's their model, and it would be deemed to be such above market value and fantastic business that they would have to entertain some kind of negotiation. Right now, at 55 million or 60 million, there is nothing to any negotiation. It's a formal offer that is rejected, and almost instantaneously, by Brighton. But key to Arsenal's offer, which I think is intriguing, is that it's 60 million fixed. And therefore, even though they may add more to it and thus want to pay a smaller guaranteed fee, the fact that they've bid to begin with without add-ons, knowing that add-ons will always be important to this kind of deal, is very much a marker and a signal that they may return to the table. And although most may presume that 60 will have add-ons on top, they could well go down to 55 or 50 and put 20 or 25 million in add-ons on top as well. So something is going to have to be closer in terms of second bids from either Chelsea or Arsenal to 70, 75 million at the lower end. And some are even saying that Brighton want 80 million to really entertain a conversation. And then it's going to come down to player desire, to the structure of the deal, and to time as well. But I still think that this one will rumble on right until the end of the window, because it's clear that Caicedo wants a move. It's obvious that Arsenal have escalated their desire to bring in a midfielder because of the injury to Mohamed El-Neni, but they also know that they can kind of go head-to-head against Chelsea. And if they succeed in this type of transfer at the volume of spending that it would take, then it's a coup. And I wouldn't want to call it revenge for Mykhailo Mudryk, because that's not really how clubs think operate. But it is about ambition. It is about urgency. It is about moving quickly within the market. So what we have to look at now, which I think is very important, is first and foremost, which club moves next, who flinches. Is it going to be Arsenal adding to their 60 million, or is it going to be Chelsea realizing that Arsenal are very serious about getting a deal done and themselves putting down a big offer. And then Brighton are still being difficult. And De Zerbi has said many, many times that he hopes the player will stay. Brighton are only anticipating outgoings being via the form of loans to players in their development squad and nothing else. So there's lots of time left in the context of what it takes to still make an offer, even though it doesn't appear like there's much time left in the window. There's plenty of time for teams to come back in. And what Chelsea and Arsenal would be wary of is if they're both going to come back in, it's only going to inflate the price further and further and further. So I actually expect the next step to be quite a bullish offer. I expect it to be first, and I think that one of the two clubs will strongly consider getting somewhere close to the 70 million and then seeing whether that creates meaningful engagement, because right now there's not really any meaningful engagement. Brighton are not countering, Brighton are not saying no, but if you do this. Brighton are not offering this valuation, even though sources continue to say and have done for months that it's 75 million or more. Brighton are simply saying no. They're letting the clubs do the guessing, the clubs do the work, the clubs trying to work out which direction each other are moving in as well. So I think we're in for a big 24 or 48 hours, and Chelsea haven't given up this deal at this stage. But again, to reiterate, Brighton are in no mood to negotiate until the value goes up significantly.
If I had to put you on the spot and you had to pick between the two clubs who you think could reach that 70 mil, who do you think will do it out of the two?
Well, I think both have got the finances to do it. Arsenal ultimately have got that budget, if you like, despite a few signings from Mudryk. And Chelsea, we know, have got 85 million euros hanging around that they were going to put towards Enzo Fernandez. And even since they've signed Mykhailo Mudryk, the fact that they've still held in the last sort of 10 days or so more talks with Benfica tells you that that money's still there, because they know that to succeed in those talks, they're going to have to pay a minimum of 85 million euros, even at the cheapest end of the sliding scale. So we have to be very conscious that it's not necessarily the money that's the problem here. It's the fact that Brighton's valuation is just a lot higher. But in terms of who can or can't afford it, both clubs absolutely can. And that's what makes it such an interesting race. But I think that Caicedo's head has been turned by Chelsea before Arsenal, but Mudryk's head was turned by Arsenal before Chelsea. So that only illustrates you that players change their mind, players have other perspectives. But throughout the last 3 weeks or so, Caicedo's been waiting and hoping that Chelsea might agree a deal, because he does want to work under Graham Potter, and he looks at that midfield and he sees a long-term plan. Whereas with Arsenal, if they're going to come in for Declan Rice and they've still got Xhaka and Partey, then what's his game time like? And is that game time as instantaneous or integral as it would be at Chelsea? And this is the kind of perversity of Chelsea's situation. Not that we really want to bill it in these terms, but if Chelsea reach a position where they're not in the Champions League in terms of being able to qualify with 7 weeks of the season to go, it becomes like F1. And by that, I mean the teams in F1 that find themselves not competing towards the back end of the season get a bit of a jump start for the season ahead, and they can start testing and trialing because there's less at stake. And Chelsea don't want to be in that position. And if they are, it will be a very negative mood amongst the fan base. But it allows you, again, to say to a player like Caicedo, to say to other youngsters within the team, now's your chance to get a run of games. Now's your chance to bed in until next season. And that might apply to David Datro Fofana. It might apply to Andre Santos. It might apply to players like Caicedo that want to know if they move, they're going to be involved this season, even with a fit Kante or Kovacic or Jorginho, and Gallagher's still there as well. So that midfield is bizarrely in need of revamp, but there's also a fair amount of names and competition there. And I think it's the same at Arsenal as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what the direction of travel is with the actual valuation. My sense is the first to agree a deal with Brighton will be the club that Caicedo goes to, because I don't think that he's got as defined loyalty to either. But Chelsea's interest is definitely more long-standing, and he has already held conversations, as I understand it, with Graham Potter.
Interesting. We have to see as the deadline day approaches on the 31st. Obviously, we've got Malo Gusto quickly. We're going to jump on in a second, but just quickly staying on midfield. Enzo Fernandez, obviously, again, we know the stance. Rui Costa's made it very clear. You pay the money or not. We're being told that Chelsea may go in again. If not Enzo Fernandez in this jam market, which don't surprise me, Chelsea could do on deadline day and just lump the money on, depending on what they, the decision they make. Is there any other midfielder targets that Chelsea look on, or is it just either Caicedo and Enzo, or do we know of anyone else, like maybe a Latvia or someone like that could maybe come out of the pipelines in midfield for Chelsea?
Lavia, I'm told, is very difficult, and Southampton are in no mood to do business with Chelsea now. It might be slightly different within the summer. I think if they move to another midfielder, it's going to be very similar to the end of the last window, where come the final day, if they haven't got their top targets, they'll suddenly look at either shorter term options or different options at budget prices. And it's kind of quite interesting that there are midfielders out there. Anahi, for example, is about to go to Marseille by the looks of things, and he's only 10 million euros. I'm sure there'll be add-ons on top of that as well, because it's a fantastic bit of business. Weston McKennie can play in a variety of different positions in midfield, and he's somewhere in the region of 30 million euros. And Chelsea have looked at him in the long run as well, but it's Leeds that are closing in on that deal too. So it's very important to stress that it's a moving target at this point, and a club may be considering backup options towards the end of the weekend or the beginning of next week, whereas right now they're dismissing those as targets. So I think that Chelsea realise they do need to get in a midfielder. They don't want to panic or rush, but by the same token, it's a strange window now for Chelsea because they've spent big, they've been ambitious, they've got the fan base excited. Joao Felix had a good hour before he got sent off. Mykhailo Mudryk had a good cameo, but those are ultimately only two halves combined by two players. And in the case of the Felix one, the sending off ended up meaning that Fulham could win that game. So you can look at it both ways. And from the Mudryk perspective, he was incredibly exciting, but it was a 0-0 draw. And Chelsea's problem all season has been goals. So you can get overexcited about the potential. You can get overexcited about the vision. And I'm one of the people from a journalist perspective that's illustrated that aspect constantly. But if we flip it, what were the two priorities, especially once Reece James was injured, that virtually every single fan would say he needed this window? Right back, centre midfield. And what are the two positions that they've not signed with only a few days in the window? Right back, midfield. So this is where Malo Gusto, who's perfect for Chelsea, and also a central midfielder are going to be really important. And there's others on the market too. I mean, Yuri Tielemans might be available. Chelsea aren't really looking at this point, but you can pivot right at the last minute because you can find value in the market somewhere surprising potentially. So Chelsea can't move too fast with what they would construe to be a backup, because if they do, then they reach a scenario where maybe they're letting the primary target, Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, sweat a little bit. And if they just go and sign somebody else, then it's counterproductive. So don't rule out the fact that clubs like Chelsea are being tactical, and inaction is kind of action at this stage in the window, because you don't want to show all of your cards. You do want to wait an hour or a day and really make that club or that target sweat a little bit if you think that that's the best tactic. And then you know you can still pivot to somebody else that you can get a little bit easier because they're available on the market, perhaps because they've got a release clause you can trigger, perhaps because you've already done the groundwork in terms of maybe will come in for you. So this is where we stand with midfield. With right back, I think that Denzel Dumfries has always been on Chelsea's radar, and then Malo Gusto remains the top target. But as I've said before with Malo Gusto, Lyon not only want to keep him until the end of the season, but more importantly, because Jean-Michel Aulas's comments are always to be taken with a pinch of salt, it's about the valuation. And consistently, I've been told that 35 million, about 40 million euros, has really been Lyon's open valuation with clubs. So the fact that Chelsea are sniffing around beginning at 17, 18, 19 and going up to maybe 25, 26, they're still some way off the valuation. And therefore, if a deal there is to be done, Chelsea are in a weaker position now with less time in the window, where they're just going to have to up their offer out of an urgency to get the player, and then maybe also concede to a loan back until the end of the season, which is counterproductive to perhaps what Chelsea need right now. But if they believe in the player as a long-term addition to Chelsea, maybe they have to concede on that particular part of the negotiation as well.
Yeah, and with the Malo Gusto thing, obviously, you know, the president and the manager's come out. Apparently today he's come out, Laurent Blanc, and he said specifically that, you know, I've been told that Gusto's staying. He's one. You know, there's no idea for him to let him go and that. But I agree. I think money does talk, and obviously if Chelsea are going to go and get maybe one more signing in the January window and maybe not be able to sign a midfielder due to the priorities and the values of their priorities, then I don't get why we just wouldn't lay that money. And that's why I just feel with Malo Gusto that if especially from what we're being told, he wants to move on as well. That deal just could not be done, if that makes sense, Ben. So I think it's just about waiting to see if Chelsea actually lay the money. And other than that, I don't think there's much else, is there really? With Chelsea, it's just Malo in the midfield.
Well, I mean, it's quite a lot when you consider that there's only 4 days of the window left. They're chasing after 2 targets. And of course, outgoings as well are worth noting as well. It's not impossible that an offer comes in for Hakim Ziyech, but wages are still a problem. It's not impossible that someone tries their luck for Conor Gallagher. And this is where Chelsea have to kind of concede potentially as well. Because remember, if they are in a situation where they can get, for example, a midfielder from somebody, maybe there's a requirement to send somebody the other way, and therefore they may have leverage and they could use that. And we know that Todd Boehly loves a swap deal, and some of these names available on the market to Chelsea have been mentioned before as possible outgoings as part of other deals. So when Chelsea spoke to Inter originally for Romelu Lukaku, there was an idea that a player might come the other way. If they are to be in the market for Moises Caicedo, Brighton need a replacement. Are they going to have to concede? And does that change the perspective, say, even though they're different types of midfielders, on a player like Conor Gallagher? These are all hypothetical, but ultimately Chelsea's big squad works for them in the sense that they may have a ready-made replacement that they can offer, but it works against them because all of these players are on relatively high wages, not all the same wage, but naturally still higher than clubs like Brighton, for example, would like to pay. And it can be tough at the end of the window, because if you're sort of desperate to get business done, you're exploring all options. Of course, you'd like to trade somebody the other way if that's the best way of getting the deal done, but the player's got to want to go the other way, and the club that are taking that player have to like them, see them as a priority, and be prepared to pay their wages. And this is where Ziyech is a problem. So Chelsea are going to have to bend on something, I think, with Ziyech, and that's really important, because if they fail to do so, then they lump themselves with a player that is ultimately on big wages and putting off suitors. And in addition to that, there is a high transfer fee, which a lot of clubs don't want to pay. It's not astronomically high. It's not crazy to the point where it would put off a suitor, but Chelsea's valuation of Ziyech is effectively closer to what they paid, which is around 33 million. And the clubs inquiring about Ziyech, knowing his wages are high, are more looking at something in the region of, I would say at the lowest end, 16, 17, 18 million, up to about 21, 22 million, which Chelsea still see as relatively low, especially because you're trying to cash in off the back of the World Cup opportunism, not just judge him as a Chelsea player. So right now, his market value has gone up, not down. And therefore, if Chelsea were prepared to sell him for 15 odd million to cut their losses and get him off the wage bill, it makes a lot of sense. But off the back of that World Cup that he had, where he went all the way through to the 3rd place playoff, you have to say that he probably is worth closer, if not entirely, to what Chelsea paid. So there's a gap in valuation. And then, say, Newcastle and even Roma don't want to necessarily pay a Champions League wage before they know if they're going to get Champions League football next season. Otherwise, you're stuck with that. And then everybody else in your squad is going to be asking for something similar.
Fair enough. And to be fair, we'll just have to wait and see whether he goes in this market or not. And I just think it's going to be a very busy couple of days for Chelsea, because we've seen how we done the Mudryk deal, how they can just react in a short space of time. And I do feel that we're going to potentially do something like that. And I think it's going to be some interesting days in and around Chelsea Football Club and other clubs as well. But for us as Chelsea fans, it's become quite exciting to see what we end up doing if we do anything else, Ben. But I think you need to shoot, didn't you? Because you said you got to shoot at 20 past.
Yeah, apologies. Yeah. This was meant to be at 3 o'clock and we would have had a good hour, but I do have to run, busy times as ever. But I think we covered everything. I mean, the beauty of the last few days of the window is that there's just not a massive amount of names, but beware that there will be surprises, because clubs stick to their targets until, I would say, Sunday. And then they start realizing that it's no longer games. It's just either possible or not possible. And then when you get into those final hours of the window, they say, well, actually, we do have to re-explore a target, or we do have to reignite something. And that's ultimately what happened with Denis Zakaria. Remember, they wanted Edson Alvarez. They pushed very hard for him. They even actually looked at Artemelo, but Liverpool got in there. And then Zakaria became very last minute. But it's not like they just sit around the table and say, okay, who should we draw up now? Zakaria would have been there, but they obviously didn't move because they had 2 or 3 above him in the list. So there will be these for want of a better word, backups, there will be these other options. I think that Chelsea will actually be quite disappointed internally with their window if they don't get either a right back or a central midfielder. And I think if they get one of the two and then have a plan for the summer, they'll be delighted. So it's key days ahead, I suppose, in terms of the overall feeling around the window. And luckily in some ways for Chelsea, because they've spent big money and these players are exciting and they're goal scorers, I think if results pick up, the fan base will be very happy, because already Felix shows he can make an impact and Mudryk has just got a really high ceiling. But again, strategically, their number one and number two priorities should have been centre mid and right back. And at the time we're speaking, they don't have a centre mid or a right back, and they definitely won't want the window to shut and still be in that position.
So you think they'll go for the two, or do you think we'll get one? What do you think, one or two?
It's possible to predict. I mean, they're in talks for a right back, and they're doing as much as they can, and they're in talks for a central midfielders, and they're doing as much as they can, but they're dealing with clubs in every instance this late in the window that don't want to sell. So if those clubs just stick to their guns, regardless of what Chelsea do, they can do no more. It's not necessarily Chelsea failing at this point, because they offered a heck of a lot of money for Enzo Fernandez a few weeks back. And okay, 55 for Caicedo, I don't think is as high as Chelsea can or necessarily want to go. So that's the one that intrigues me the most, because you feel like Chelsea might drop another 10, 12, 15 million on that price, especially now Arsenal are in the race. And if they do that, it becomes very interesting. But there has to come a point where if you're saying to Benfica, we're not going to pay the release clause, but we've offered you an incredible amount of money. And if you say to Brighton, we've offered you 10, 15, 20 million above the player's market value. And if you say to Lyon, we've tried over 30 million euros and you're still staying until the end of the season, you're far more sensible to walk away. And that's not failure really, because you've actually gone above market value in 3 cases. So you've done more than you wanted to. And if you still fail, you're mad to keep wasting time and energy on it, because if you've not got Caicedo at 75, let's say, you're unlikely to get him at 80 or 85. And then if you're going up to 100, you're really just panic buying when you may as well wait until the summer. That's my feeling anyway.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, hopefully we'll try and, I know you're going to be very busy, but we'll see if we can try and get you back on at some point before the end, even if it's like a 20-minute super, like last time when we done the deadline, if you remember. It was quite a crazy day, that one, in the summer. But yeah, all right, Ben, I'll let you go. Thank you very much for coming in and updating us, and appreciate it. Take care. See you later on.
Take care.
Yeah, bye. So there you go, guys. A quick one from Ben today. As you can imagine, very busy, running around trying to get as much information as possible for different people, etc. And today he's given us an update on Malo. He's given us an update on Caicedo, and his answers are just very clear when it comes to Caicedo. He expects, but Chelsea at 55 million. He knows Chelsea. We all know Chelsea have a bit more money if they want the player to go and get the player. So it's one of them things of, who do Chelsea prioritize? Do they prioritize Caicedo? Do they prioritize Enzo Fernandez? Who will they go for? Will they go for none? Will the strategy change till summer to then sign a midfielder? Malo, he thinks not to ignore what the president has said or the manager has said, but money does talk, and money is a huge factor when it comes to people, business, should we say, business in general. So Gusto, Caicedo, Enzo. Would it be one of the 3? Could we do 2 of the 3? Could it be none of the 3? What do you guys feel is going to be the case? We are going to do a transfer deadline show for you guys on that, which was kind of similar to what we did in the summer, if you remember, when the Zakaria news broke, while we was live via Fabrizio Romano. We had CFC Pies with us as well. So yeah, we will definitely look to try and bring a deadline day show and a couple more shows before that, guys, because it's going to heat up hopefully for Chelsea. So we'll see what happens, but I want to let people come in for the next 45 minutes or so to come in and have their say. I want to know their thoughts and feelings as we stand now. Chelsea still haven't got a right back. Chelsea still haven't got a central midfielder. Like Ben Jacobs said, they are key areas to Chelsea Football Club, the most important areas to the football club when you think about over the course of the last couple of seasons. We've again sorted out a centre back. We've again gone and sorted out the forward line and committed to there. Are Chelsea Football Club going to look at the midfield? Will we get one of the 2 positions potentially? We'll have to wait and see. But we have Callie who's joined us now as well. Callie, what we saying?
Big up, Jim. How you doing, man?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Obviously, no midfielder, no right back yet. Not to say that we're not going to do anything, but time is ticking. What's your thoughts?
I guess let me kick it off with this. If we did not sign a single other person by the end of this window, is this window a failure or is this window a success?
So I would say for me that it hits a 6.5 because when you look at how bad our forward line is in general, bringing in the forwards is not a bad idea. However, my issue with that is that it's not an issue because in theory we're bringing in players that are dribblers that can create now, which is something I wanted more. It's a player on the forward line that can create, but we also need we also need what I feel is the midfield sorted with a deep line creator, and obviously we know we need two, but whether we get one now, one later, which is what I think we will do. I would probably say 6.5. If we get Malo Gusto, then for me it would be a 7.5. In my opinion,
I hear that. So echoing what you're saying real quick, I'm of the same notion where it's just like it's a transfer window that had so much potential. Because if we would have got, you don't even have to get the whole midfield set up. If you got one solid midfielder, preferably a 6. And you got one backup right back. Malo Gusto was perfect. Like he could have been competitive to Reece James. Like it would have been literally a perfect right back replacement. But it's just, it is what it is, you know? So, you think we're going to be able to get through the season with Aspie?
We ain't got no choice at this moment in time, bro. What can we do? What is that noise in the background? It sounds like something spinning.
Yeah, bro. Someone's alarm's going off, man.
Oh, mate, it's doing, yeah. Someone's alarm's going off.
Everyone hit the mute. Hit the mute.
That's it. Yeah. Whoever's got that horrible noise in the background, Jesus, like, please.
That was me because I'm at work right now. My bad.
Oh, all right, for you. Big up, mate. Sorry, it's just ringing badly though through the.
I missed what he said. He said that we're not getting Malo anymore. That's final?
No, he didn't say that. He said that he kind of said ignore, not say ignore, but he kind of said take it as a what's the word?
Essentially, we're going to the last minute.
Yeah,
we're going to
basically Chelsea laid the money. They think they will still do a deal, even though Leon have come out and said that he's staying. But
what they want? 35?
I think it's more 40 million euros.
Just do it, man. Get the guy.
It will be around 35 sterling or just below 34 sterling if you do that. But the player wants Chelsea. That's what we've been told.
Just do it, man. Just do it.
It's not waste time, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Right, let's go to Don. Don, what are we saying? Is he here now? No, he said, I know he said he was in the meeting. So let's go to Bobby. Bobby, what are you saying?
Hi, Jem. Hi, guys. I think I listened to the last part of Ben Jacobs. It was interesting stuff. Look, I think, this season, what's left of it, we've got one objective and 2 channels to achieve it. We've got to go all out. Our focus this January should be on buying players. I'm not really too interested in selling players. We can sell in the summer. We've got such an injury list, we probably can afford to do that because most of them probably won't be fully back before the season ends. But right now, the Enzo deal, I know we need 2 midfielders, but the Enzo deal, I think, has been messed up by this tax issue because we've gone from 127 million euros to about 100 and nearly 170 because of paying these taxes. I mean, I don't really know how we can get past that. If they can, fantastic. I don't know how they can get past that. Now, I understand, right, from what I'm reading, that Chelsea are looking at a number of midfield options, just as Ben Jacobs was saying, maybe like the Weston McKennies of this world and so on and so forth. But if definitely the marquee, if I can use that word, at the moment is Enzo and Caicedo. My personal feeling is, look, at this point, drop the money for Caicedo and take him away. Why mess about? I understand the timing is everything, and sometimes it's good to let them sweat. And it's also good to see what else Arsenal want to do. They might decide to, I understand they want to up the bid, and it might be best to, let them up the bid. Then that will determine what we're going to bid. But right now, we should go all out for Caicedo, get him and be done with it.
You're not worried about
Right.
how much you actually got to lay for him? We're being told between 75 to 100 million sterling, Bobby. Do you not think that's a lot of money?
Well, I mean, they get to that point, just as Ben said, you walk away, isn't it? When it gets silly, you walk away. And as far as I'm concerned, talking 60, 70, 75 for Caicedo
That's
is
silly.
silly. But
Yeah.
anything above that is unacceptable, and we walk. I don't even think Arsenal will go above that either.
I mean,
if
it
they
wouldn't
do
make sense,
well,
would it? Because they didn't go for Mudryk, did they, for that kind of money? So why would they go for
Exactly.
Caicedo?
No, they did.
Exactly.
They were 5 million off our valuation. All they had to do was put 5 million pounds sterling on the table, and maybe they still would have lost because we're the bigger club. But it is what it is.
There's also
I reckon Caicedo will go about 70. I really
Yeah, I
do.
think
Anything
it'll be.
else, no one's going to pay.
I think it'll be like 60 million plus 10 million add-ons, or something
Yeah.
stupid, like, or 65 million plus 10 million add-ons, or something like that. I don't know, like if we can do
I
that.
think one
but-
thing Brighton are banking on is that in the summer they'll have more suitors for Caicedo. So they think
but not for 100 million quid. No one's going to pay that. It's not worth it.
because they might, again, think about it. In the summer, United might be sold to Dubai investors. Liverpool might be sold to Dubai investors or Qatari investors. So they might have more suitors in. And even if they get £70 million now or 70 million in the summer, for Brighton, it's better to get it in the summer because Caicedo can help them achieve European spots in the league. That's extra money.
What it is, though, is we need to. The debate is who can we actually afford to fight in the transfer window over, and who can we not? I put an example like this: Caicedo, we can fight for in summer. We can actually leave him until summer because as long as we put up the valuation in the summertime, it'll be, can someone else match our valuation? Okay, do you want to go to a bidding war because we're gonna win? Okay, if we're not gonna bid against each other, then that's it. All right, you pick two clubs, your choice. But Enzo's the one. Like, you leave Enzo till the summer, he's gone. He's gone somewhere. It don't matter where it is. He's gone.
Yeah, I agree. I think Enzo for me is the one that you don't want to go to war with, and if it is like a PSG or a Man City or someone like that, it's going to make
we losing.
Yeah.
But if
it's
we
going to
don't,
make it very hard for us, especially without Champions League football as well. You know, which is the other thing. You know,
if we don't get
I think we
Caicedo,
go to war
then
with
what do we
anyone.
do?
The issue is Champions League football. I think we can go to war if we have to with anyone. It's
I
just that
agree, but
Champions
it
League
makes it
that
very hard. It makes it harder, Bobby, doesn't it? Especially when players want to play Champions League. You know that's that can be an issue in itself. But we could still get Champions League, guys. It's only 10 points away.
Well, we've got to go for it. We've got to go for it.
This season, I don't judge.
If we win our next 5, we could get Champions League. We have
let's
a
not
nice
talk about.
We have
let's
a nice
not talk
run.
about it. Let's not talk about
Listen,
it.
we've got a full squad returning. We've got brand new players added to it.
We got a nice run.
We got Reece James, Kante, Ben Chilwell, Madueke, Hadjal, Felix. We got Badiashile and Silva at the back.
Jem, you're only putting more pressure. You're only putting more pressure on Potter because he just got a brand new squad. No other manager has ever gotten delivered a brand new fucking squad.
He can't just keep fucking losing games. He needs
that's my point. After next season, that means he's been fully back because I expected the summertime to get one midfielder, one right back minimum. If we don't now, by next season, if Potter does not deliver me second place or challenging for a title minimum, you guys are mad. You guys are mad. We've spent so much. We have a brand new squad.
We should be up there. We should be up there.
We should be up there. But to say win it, I don't think we'll win it. But
no, Jem, they're not going to be able to win it because he doesn't have the acumen to challenge. But what I am saying is, any other manager, we criticize Ten Hag for getting 240 million and not competing. We criticize other managers for getting 300 million and not competing. This man got a 550 to 600 million quid new fucking squad. You're telling me he's not supposed to be competing?
Yeah, but they're young, though. They're young.
No.
A lot of them are young as well.
Are some not young? What are these excuses I'm hearing?
What I'm saying is you don't see a lot of the youngsters that we've signed in the first team. You know, there's a lot of them like the Nkunkus. I agree, though. We need to be definitely changed. Let's go to who's not spoke. Rodrigo, you spoke?
Well, just quick one. I have a feeling that we're not gonna get anyone else in this window. I think that I don't know. It feels like it's too tight to
Never
get.
say never, man.
Yeah.
It's Chelsea. Look what we done
Yeah,
in 1 day.
no,
Look what we done in 8 to 10 hours.
hours we got Modric.
Chelsea.
I think our window has been 6.5.
You never
I think,
say never in football.
yeah, Jem, I think that's harsh to say 6.5. I think I'll give it. I think I'll give it 7.5.
Rodrigo,
Because
what is
look
our
at
main
the-
priorities in our team? What would you say are the
I think we had priority in all three departments.
No, but what have we
Nah,
neglected?
nah.
I think we did. I think we had. I think getting a creator up. Right. Let's say we did get Enzo, right, and then we didn't get Modric or João Felix. So you have Enzo creating all these chances for the bums that you have up top. So you have.
I mean, that's the problem, though. Half of the debate at Chelsea, half the debate at Chelsea is would our forwards be better if our midfield
start creating, though, Rodrigo.
No, we would see better. We would see
But
improvement.
no. What I'm saying is, with João Felix, Modric, Noni, you can create, but differently. You don't have to create through the midfield. You can have a way where your creative come from. I know you want a midfielder, but
let me explain this to you. What I think, I agree with what you're saying partly, right? But we build up from the back. We play out from the back. If you have players that can't in midfield that can't play them balls quick enough into your forward lines, it doesn't matter if you've got Mudryk, fucking Mbappe, and Haaland in your team. If you do not feed them the balls quick enough, they are going to end up having the same problems as many forwards have had at Chelsea Football Club. It's going to be annoying. Yeah. So we do need deep line creativity, and it's not just the midfield. Midfield's important, but we also need it from the right back area. When we lose Reece James, we have no one that can create. At least with Malo Gusto, it's another creative area. Then you go to the midfield and you have, I don't know, Enzo Fernandez creates there. And then you go to forward line. Now you've got Mudryk who's going to create from his room. You've got options now. It's not just one area can create. It's across the pitch. And that's where you find the balance in the squad.
But I think we've done 70% of that. Because think about it. Instantly, right? When a team sees Modric, Felix, and maybe Sterling lining up against them, instantly the defensive line drop. So we can squeeze them. Look at Liverpool. Look at just the Liverpool game the other day. Before Modric came on, Liverpool were pushing on us, right? As soon as he came on, guess what they did? They dropped.
Yeah, but you've got to give them the ball quick enough, Rodrigo. If they make a run, but we've got Jorginho that goes, I'm going to go backwards. What are they going to end up doing after a while?
I think you can instruct Jorginho to release the ball quicker.
That's the problem.
Or my dog Mason Mount, who is on the shittiest of forms right now, can't make a pass forward. But
the midfield got to get upgraded, bro.
When you put it that way, I know what you mean. I know it feels underwhelming. To be fair, yeah, I think we needed midfielder more than anything actually. If you ask me at the beginning of the window, a right back in the midfield were the two men priority. But I'm not gonna complain having Modric and João.
No, I ain't. I'm not going to complain as well.
But we needed.
Go on,
we
AJ,
needed all four. We needed attackers as well. You know, you got to take what you could get. If Bowley could get the attackers in the winter, then why not? You know, you can't just say, "Oh, we need it. Let's not get them. We need this." But you know, my thing is, if we don't get Caicedo, what are we gonna do? You know, who's gonna be the DM? Because we still need a defensive-minded midfielder and a deep-lying playmaker like Enzo. We need two types of midfielders, and right now it's not looking good.
We're not getting either of them.
Yeah, I hear you. Let's go to 40. 40, what do you want to say, mate?
Yeah, give me 1 sec. Let me get out of the way from here because, you know, that's squeaking noise in the ear.
What is that? What is that making the noise?
So I work for a blood bank. So we have platelet activators, and they got to keep moving.
Fair enough, mate.
Yeah. My whole thing is this, like if we cannot get Caicedo, just stick Chalobah in defensive midfield, bro. That's my thing. Because having to pay 100 mil. No, Chalobah, yeah. Because he could play. Okay. He could play as a 6. He could be a little bit disciplined than Jorginho can. Just stick him in there, bro. Because 100 mil for Moises Caicedo. That's just daylight robbery, bro.
Yeah, anything more than 60.
Yeah, I understand he's good, and I know for a fact like he could really help this team. But that much money, I might as well add another 40 and get Enzo and just call it a day. But I still think we're going to make signings in midfield, at least one person, and just get that right back, and we could compete. Because what, it's 10 points, and we have what? We have Felix in, we got Modric, we got Sterling. Hell, I would even play Sterling as a false nine if you ask me. Just stick Havertz on the bench, because that's a lot of pace on the counter.
Sterling
You could throw
stinks as a nine.
I mean, but dude, how bad would
He
he do
reeks
more
as a
than
nine.
Havertz? That's my thing. You
It'll
got
be
Sterling and
interesting.
Havertz. If you had to pick one going against, I don't know, a Man City, and you got to hit him on the counter, who would you play as your nine? Shit, that's what I'll do.
I hear you, mate. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying about Chalobah, and I've not seen him there enough, to be fair. I mean, we know that he's played there before, but I think with the injury to Wesley Fofana, it made it a lot harder for us to sort of cover that area. I don't really like seeing Azpilicueta playing in any of them areas, really, to be honest. I don't mind him coming off of the bench, but starting games, I'm a bit of an issue for
It's
me.
funny because why don't we just go for Tielemans?
Holy shit! Let me see.
Till the summer.
Did he look good?
Yeah, no, I
Why
hear
don't
you.
we just go for Tielemans? I mean, it might be a lot cheaper. Throw you
I don't.
50 quid.
Yeah, but again, we're going
Onana.
for like, the only thing with
No
Tielemans is
panic, guys.
choices, man. Like, I don't want us to do that. If we've got priorities,
Yes.
we need to do. We go for our priorities, not people like we have been doing, like Zakaria, who actually could be half decent, but like just.
But that was luck. That really was luck.
Like, we've seen it with what's his name, Saul Niguez, when he came to Chelsea. Like, look at that turn out. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I don't want
If we panic right now, the main targets we're looking at are gonna end up somewhere else, and I've got a strong feeling it's gonna be the Prem. We don't want that happening, man. We do not want that happening.
Look at take a look at some of the signings, for example. We can always use Mudryk because it pisses Arsenal fans off. Imagine Mudryk went to Arsenal. Deep it for like 2 seconds, really. So imagine if like Enzo goes to Arsenal. Imagine if Enzo goes to Liverpool. Like, you can't allow this shit to happen. Like, that's my point. If they go to another league, that's one thing. But to come to our league for a different club, yeah, we got to ruin it. Absolutely.
We've got to do what our tag name is, which is ruining football. We might as well just do it.
Chelsea.
Let's go to CFC. Eman, what are you saying?
I'm good, man. For me, I just think 100 million for Caicedo is absolute rubbish. For me, he's a 60 million player at best, because the market is even 60 million is a bit much, but I think the market now is just crazy. The inflation is crazy and whatnot. But 100 million for him, mate, I'd rather not buy any midfielder. And if you heard what Poyer said in his last interview or press conference, he said it wasn't like not too many players would come in or something like that, because you can't get the main targets, and going for plan B when you can get plan A in the summer is just literally. And this season we're 10th anyways. Like, what's there to fight for this season? For me, just scrap this season, wait till the summer, get first targets. Don't get any banana or some dead players and that. Like, just get your first targets, and the preseason's built from there, and next season title challenge.
Wow, title challenge. All right, I hear you, bro. I hear you.
Thank you. Another one. I appreciate it.
You got to have Champions League to be able to get all your targets
that's
like that.
Yeah, that's true. But we Joe, what we'll do?
That again is a problem. Like, you saying we have to get Champions League, meaning the players don't actually want to come to the club. Then it's just because we're in Champions League. Like,
no.
Fight for
I agree with that point to an extent, because you see with Champions League, the way I've heard a lot of people talk about Chelsea the past few, like this season, in fact, and Arsenal, the difference in terms of how Arsenal are more attractive than Chelsea right now. I agree with that right now, right? In the short term, yes, they are more attractive than Chelsea, right? But we can still attract players without Champions League football. Like I said to you before, Jem, we never drop out of the Champions League more than a season. Like, football's not going to end after the season, and that's it. We're just a Europa League team. And it's going to make us less attractive. But overall, the long-term project and what we're building, again, we're going to have a completely different 11 as of the summer. Even in the second half of the season, you're going to see a completely different team. So I'm not looking into us not getting the Champions League too much, because Enzo already said, yeah, he wants to come, and there's no guarantee right now that we're going to get top 4. So short term, yeah, we're probably not going to make the top 4, but I wouldn't say that's going to mean that no one's going to want to come anymore.
It's also the fact of what we're selling them, because whatever we're selling as the project, we don't know, and we're still waiting to see. He seems to be working.
I got you. Give me 2 minutes.
They're quite interested in it, you know. So let's quickly read some of these super chats. Reggie_Thoughts, thank you for the donation. Says all this talk about the midfield and creativity when Chelsea's problem is breaking down in the final third because of the Chuckle brothers, Havertz, amount. Again, I partly agree with that to a degree, but at the same time, it's you got to think of what that leads
It's the
to.
midfield, yeah.
We have that problem in the first place. So it's not just the forward line. I'm telling you now. I've said this for a long time. Reggie's put another donation in. Big up to him as well. Thank you. He says, would 1,000% play Sterling as centre forward instead of Havertz? He did a job where Tuchel him in that position, held it up better than Kai. I mean, he just doesn't like Havertz, does he? Obviously,
the problem with that is. Oh, sorry.
Sterling shouldn't be playing forward. I don't ever want to see Sterling playing as a forward. So
but the problem with that is, Jem, is
I'll take it over Havertz though. Like
no. You need height. You know how we build up.
You need height, mate.
No more playing. Listen. No more playing players out of position. Let's stop this.
Thank you.
Let's stop this foolishness. Let's stop. Listen. Bro, we've been having Chalobah at right back, for Christ's sake. No more out of position. Look, it's very simple. We broke financial fair play. We have a glitch in the system right now. We can offer players crazy amounts of deals with amortization. We can only do this now. We can actually walk in at Enzo, slap 100 million on the table, amortize it over 7 years, and literally walk away with the player.
Yeah,
now, whether Chelsea does it or not, that's up to
100 million. Now they want the release clause.
Oh, never mind. They want 120 up front, and I don't blame Chelsea. There's no way I'm
on the back of actually not having the 5-year cap in the summer, which is also something that could happen with FFP trying to do that as well. But Ruth, with the donation, you didn't say anything, but thank you for the donation. If you want for this, it just says that everyone Chelsea will try and get what inflated prices. We did this to ourselves. We didn't do it ourselves. You don't have to. We've got owners that have got money, I guess. Reggie says, man said height. City won Premier League back-to-back with no tall forwards. Reggie's saying as well.
City has
there's an inflated price, but then there's extortion. They're trying to extort us.
Let's go to other people quickly, guys. So I've got to fly for it. CFC Matty, what are you saying? It's a good long time, my friend, since you've been on here. So let's hear it. I know what you're going to... I actually know what you're going to say before you say it.
Matty, Kappa!
There we go.
Hello, am I on here?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Oh, thank God for that. Right, I'm gonna make it short. I'm gonna make it sweet. Look, it's all well and good buying these attackers, man, but I mean, there's holes in our. There's a hole that needs to be filled. We've got right back that's a problem, and we've got a defensive midfield problem. You know, it's all well and good buying these young attackers, and it's great, but we've got a hole in FFP. We need to do it now. Otherwise, all we're going to be doing is that we're going to be sat there going, oh, well, we need a defensive midfielder. Oh, well, we can't spread it on over several payments. Oh, now what we're going to do? But we've got all these attackers. I just want to ask, what's the point? You know, we could have bought a defensive midfielder, which would have solved a lot of problems. Because let's face it, hopefully we'll get rid of Bakayoko because he's absolutely pointless. And you know, and at the end of the day, we need a right back, right, to actually at least stand in for Reece James. So, you know, as long as we get rid of most of that attack, because let's face it, Pulisic's out the door, because let's face it, he's been on the stretcher more times than on the pitch. Freaking Ziyech, right? Fair play to him. He turned up at the World Cup. Fair play to him. I just wish he'd just turn up in a blue shirt for a change. And, you know, all we've done is that we've centered all about the attackers when we could have got them in the summer. And we could have had a lot more in the summer. So, you know, and we could have had Enzo on the table. I honestly, I believe Jose Mourinho had it right to Roman Abramovich. Pay the money and don't speak. That's what Bowley needs to do right now. He just needs to shut up talking.
Just such a lazy approach.
What?
It's just lazy. Like well, think about it, okay?
Oh, I thought you meant my thinking. I thought you meant my thinking.
It kind of is though. Like when you think about it, like think about what is happening with FFP right now. they've changed the rules now. So like you have to basically, it's all about what you're putting into on the pitch now. So right now for the first year, it's 90% of your gross income goes to what's going on the pitch. Year after that, it's 80%. Year after that, it's 70% of your gross income. So you can't just like throw money at things anymore and expect it to come out in the wash, especially because they're changing that little loophole that we found as well. So you have to be thinking about that going forward. It's not about just like just throw money at it and make it work out. It's not that simple, you know. So that's.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, I mean, they have the money to pay the release clause. Why do you think they're not doing it?
Well,
because
go on.
Everyone keeps saying that, you know, why are we signing attackers now? Why not wait till the summer? Because everybody we have right now is trash.
Exactly.
They don't perform. You know, at least now we have competent attackers.
Yep. You know what the funny thing is? We're talking about sponsorship. Like American sponsorship.
That their poo.
Hold on a sec,
Callie.
Hold on a sec, Callie. When you're talking about American sponsorship, like think about this. Think about it this way for a second. We're trying to attract new corporate sponsors in with these American owners and stuff like that. You need a marquee player to market to the American audience if you're going to bring in those corporate sponsors and stuff like that. You can't use Havertz. You can't use Mount. You can't use Pulisic either. To be honest, you need somebody that's dynamic, flair driven, that attracts people to the game. You know, and those are.
You can't use Pulisic, can you?
You certainly can't use.
Well,
Pulisic.
he's on the bloody stretcher, isn't he? Oh yes, please come and see Pulisic. Oh look, he's on the stretcher. At least the stretchers work. They've been serviced.
You won that. Yeah, you won that battle. You know, you win that one.
Yeah, I know. Thankfully, you honestly, you lot. I know people are crucifying me because of my Pulisic agenda, right? Watch Mudryk. Just by one what he will cook, man, and you will forget Pulisic. Honestly, I said this for ages. If you get,
you're not saying nothing wrong there.
If you get a decent
there's nothing
attacker,
to remember about Pulisic.
You're preaching to the choir. You're preaching to the choir.
Did you guys see him doing extra finishing trainings on that after training?
Yeah, I mean, like that shouldn't be making the waves that it is. Like it's great, but you know, in the end, the thing that was the thing that I like the most about that is that he's scoring for fun with like both feet. Like he was hitting with power with his left and his right. But the video itself is just designed to show that these guys are hard work. You know, like look at him.
Well, it's either with Cristiano Ronaldo, and apparently in one of his interviews, he's always got this attitude of always like getting to the top, and to get to the top, you have to work hard. And I like players that want to have that attitude. You know, so
his mindset is proper. His mindset is proper.
Yeah, like when they got defeated 4-0 by Leipzig, Shakhtar Donetsk in the Champions League, he came and saw his teammates saying, "Oh, they didn't have the mentality and they were defeated before the match was played and that."
And here's my thing too, like we every time we play against a team, we tend to have a lot of the ball with the likes of your Jorginhos without any cutting edge. So yeah, we do need to get an Enzo or a Caicedo, but attack has always been the problem. You cannot rely on Ziyech for shit. Pulisic is always injured. Kai is just floating somewhere in space. I mean, now we have people who can actually ball out. You can see Jorginho can overhit passes and Mudryk can actually get them. We never had that before.
People don't hear me, man. Sterling, Mudryk, Felix in the like 10, fucking Nkunku.
The attack will cook. It's just if we could keep some of these midfielders fit. Kovacic coming back from injury. Zakaria maybe coming back from injury.
Conte,
we could do a little, Conte coming in. We do need a midfielder, but the attack was always the problem for the last 2 years.
I'm hoping Conte can make a comeback.
Because it's like I hear why people say the attack is the problem because we have Conte and Kovacic and on their day, and they have a consistency to be world class. But my thing is, you know, Kovacic has been having injury problems as of recent. You know, Conte's been having injury problems. So therefore, the midfield suddenly becomes a priority. That is why the right back was such a heavy position that we needed filling. It's not because we don't have a proper right back. We have a world-class, possibly best right back in the world in Reece James. But he might be injury prone. I don't want to say it because I don't want to put it in existence, but Reece James might be injury prone, people. And if he is, the only way to make an injury-prone player work like Conte is not to run them into the ground when they're young. You get proper depth so that they compete, they have rest, and they are literally able to cope with their injury
I
prone
just wish
body.
we had Zakaria back. At least if we had Kante coming in and you had Zakaria, Jorginho, and Kovacic, it's like you lose one. We always end up only having 3. I've noticed, and then sometimes 2. It's never like 4 available, is it? It's frustrating.
Jem, when is the last time we've had use 4-3-3 just to make it simple? When's the last time we've had a proper 4-3-3 with proper 3 sets of midfielders, proper sets of defenders, and proper set of attackers?
Sorry.
Just take a thought.
Sorry.
No, not even sorry, because that was a hazard carry job. I'm being dead serious.
That was a competent midfielder, if you ask me. Kovacic in his prime, Kante,
Mount,
and then Jorginho. That was a midfield 3 that was competent as far as
and the man created Mount in it. That's crazy.
How does everyone feel about the last couple of days of the window? Obviously, deadline day's Tuesday. We'll be doing a deadline day show, guys. Make sure you're smashing the likes. Still over 650 people in the chat as well.
Smash the likes.
I have Bowley's number. I'll give him a call. Make
sure you give him a call, bro, and get him to get Enzo Fernandez, especially. What are you guys feeling in terms of the business we're gonna do? Do you still feel that we maybe get 1 or 2? Do you think it's 1? Do you think it's 0? Like, and if you do think we're gonna get someone, who do you think we're gonna get as well? Basically,
Thunderberger from Sheffield United.
No, I think we're gonna get Malo Gusto. I think we're gonna get him at right back. I know, what was the first bid? Like 20 million we went in with or something like that. I know they want 35, 40 now. I know that's double almost, but I think Bowley will do it. And then hopefully we bring in a midfielder, but I understand why we're being delicate with the midfield because we actually want to get it right. So hopefully we get it right.
Fuck it, I'll run it real quick. Look, the thing I'm actually most excited about is the future, as crazy as that sounds. At first, I really thought Bully was moving with no sense of purpose, and he sort of was, being his own director of football, things like that. You can see that's how our summer window, we had some of those signings that aren't playing out properly. But if you've looked, Badashie, and I don't want to speak on him too early because it's way too early to speak about it, but the potential, the growth I see, the performances consistently now. So it's like if the recruiting team is starting to get proper signings, so if Mudryk ends up being a good signing like that, if we're starting to, that's why I'm saying we have to challenge. Because if you give a manager, a good manager, a decent team, I'm not even saying they all have to be world-class, but a very good team with 2 world-class players in it, you should be challenging. That's just my own. We've challenged with less.
This year or next year? Are you talking about this year or next year?
No, I'm talking about at the end of next year. By the end of next year, we should be in the top 3 comfortably. After the end of next year, we should be challenging, and I mean challenging. None of this. We haven't challenged since 2017. 2017.
But keep in mind too, like there's lots of mitigating factors right now that we have to take into account. Chelsea are basically rebuilding their squad from the ground up, right? And with that in mind, like we're playing catch up to the teams that have already built correctly. Like we're playing catch up to, so the investment and all the stuff that goes into making the squad get back to the top 3, like you're saying right now, has to be incredible.
But this is what I'm saying. Look at the investment.
You're not just trying to like catch up to them because they're going to continue to go forward as well. It's not
but
like they're going to stay where they are, right?
But
so
couch
exponentially above where they are right now. You have to be exponentially better. It's not just about like trying to
no. But couch deep. What I'm saying. Like this is why it throws me when people say that. You're absolutely correct, and nothing you said is off. But how have we not started that process? And watch this. We had a Champions League winning team. That was our base blueprint. No matter how we blow it up, some of those players we keep were good enough to win a fucking Champions League. That is part of our base. Then you take on 600 million worth of players, and a lot of them actually look good. And Nkunku, Badashie, Mudryk, right?
Nkunku's not even here yet.
Hold on. I know he's not here yet. He's coming in the summer. We're talking about by next season.
In 2012, when we won the Champions League, then we had an old aging squad, and we just basically squeaked out the Champions League, right? To everyone's,
barely squeaked out.
So what is the difference between that squad and the squad that won in 2021? Kante hasn't played a lot. He's been injured a lot. Jorginho is on his last legs. Kovacic hasn't played well at all. So all the players that you think were the bedrock of Chelsea winning the Champions League in 2021 are not the players that they were back then.
Facts.
Facts. You're speaking nothing but facts.
You can't look at it. You can't use that as a marker. Say like, well, we have this Champions League squad, and then now we spent 600 million. We spent 600 million because the players that we had as a Champions League squad are not good enough. Are not good enough. That's simple.
Half of them are not even here anymore. Rudiger's not here. Christensen's
So
not here.
the direct question is this, okay? So you're telling me, remember, it's Chelsea Football Club. So you're telling me at the end of next season, this would mean a whole summer window, a whole January window, then there's going to be another summer window again. You're telling me we shouldn't be competing for the league after these three windows?
Depends on who you bring in. Depends on who you bring in.
I think we will do quite a lot. I think we'll do quite a lot in the summer window. I got a feeling if we don't finish off with, if we don't,
do we not look weak? Do we not look weak if we spend that amount of money and don't compete? I'm sorry, like
I'm with you, Callie. I'm with you, Callie. I think.
Go on, AJ.
No, you go.
No, I was just going to say, if we don't get a midfielder and we get a right back, let's say Malo Gusto happens, then I do think in that position we're covered for years to come with him and Reece James. That's cool. But I do think going into the summer window that Chelsea will prioritise the midfielder, and it won't just be one. I think we will get two. I think Jorginho will leave. I think Kante will get his extension. I think Kovacic is up in the air in many ways. We'll see. But I think we will spend money, and then from that summer window, we will. Potter's going to have to start kicking on with what he has because we will have a serious squad. I really do, because progression's key, and they have an idea and a philosophy of what they want to do. And the one thing we can already see from how much we've already spent, is how quick they're trying to get these things done, from the board to putting the puzzles together there, but also to the whole, not just the core 11, but the structure of Chelsea and the players that are already at the club with all the youngsters that we brought in as well. They're trying to speed things up, but ultimately they're not just going to do that in a January window. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I think the summer window over a longer period of time, you might see a lot more happening in there.
The forklift, man. What is that sound?
Oh, that's 40. He's at
my thing with the title challenge next year is, remember the 16-17 season with Conte, we didn't have European football. That might happen this year, I
don't know about that.
It might happen this year, but we won the title.
AJ, it's not going to get worse than what we've seen, though, because we're going to have a completely different 11 again this side of the season. And we're literally we're not far from like fifth. I swear Spurs are fifth. We literally need 2 wins or something like that. I don't see us not making European places because of the amount of games that are left and where we are. We're very close.
It's a possibility.
We could probably win the Champions League.
We could win the look, everything is possible, but right now where we at, which is 10th place, we're not in Europe. So, we can.
It's not going to stay like that, though. There's too many games, and the points are so close. It's not. It's definitely not going to stay like that.
Did you think that we were going to be in 10th this year?
I didn't, but I didn't expect to have over 12 injuries. I didn't expect to have over 12 injuries as well at the same time.
Wait. I see you have optimism about us not being 10. Cool. Let's get the hyperboles out the way, because that's what we're doing. Let's imagine the really realistic truth that Chelsea are not making top 4. Continue. Forget 10th. Forget us getting top 4. Listen, to face reality. There's a literal 65% chance we don't make top 4, and that's not good math.
There's 3 solid teams that are most likely finishing ahead of us.
Yeah, but then we also have players coming back from injury too.
Yes,
and the fixture list is looking pretty nice.
You're projecting. You're hoping.
Cali King, I'm not talking about top 4. I'm talking about European places, bro. That's what I was talking about.
Wait. So if we get 7th, which is Conference League, that's cool. Because
No. I don't think. I think we're finishing further up than that.
Oh, so you think we'll be like 5th? That's what you're essentially
probably 5th. We could make 5th.
Yeah, I hear that. That's actually that I logically hear. Spurs look like they're sinking. Newcastle will be in and around there. Liverpool, I question marks. So that sounds logical. There's nothing.
What about Newcastle?
Newcastle are making top 4. That's my bet.
Who's out? Who else is ahead?
I think they're going to drop points. I think we've got to look at Newcastle and go right.
Yeah, we skipping out some people,
My thing is, I need to see it, but
you're telling
I need to see it from
Felix, Mudryk, Sterling starting games with Jorginho and anybody else who's competent. We could pick up a few points. out of the next 5 games, we should have at least 12 points.
I think we should win all of the next 5 games. The hardest game is Spurs.
Thank you.
Well, come
Back
on,
to
but this is
regular
Chelsea,
standards.
bro. This is just Chelsea, though. Can't win off.
He's right.
They always have to. They always have to fuck it up for you, you know.
We'll finish.
It's a Chelsea
I don't
thing.
think we can win these 5 games.
Yeah, we
I
should
just
be able
think
to
that
win
the
these 5 games.
expectations now.
If you look at the 5 games, if he's saying we should make the 4th,
Well, I
we
mean,
should win all these 5 games.
It depends on the state of the team, to be honest with you, and it's hard to say who's going to be healthy, who's not.
That's
But
what I'm saying.
going back to just like what we look like going forward, I still think that what we have to take into account. And I remember I said this to you, Jem. Every window is an opportunity to improve this club, and we have to take every window as an opportunity to do that. So I think we've done enough this window to justify where the intentions are with the ownership and where we want to be at. But the next window is another opportunity. You know, the window after that's another opportunity. You know, like I don't think that it's as simple as just saying, you know, we just have to do everything this window and then that's it.
Yeah, bottom line,
I agree.
Enzo,
I agree with you.
back. That's it.
Yeah. I agree with Couch. I don't think. Yeah, I think we have to take advantage of every market that we have available. We've done that by doing what we have with the forwards and making the decision to sign them now. Fine, that's what they've decided to do. But the midfield and right back area is going to be very key to see what if we do anything before deadline on Tuesday. But we've got Fulham, West Ham, Dortmund, Southampton, and Spurs in February. So that's our months of football.
Oh man!
So before we go into March and we play Leeds, so I ain't going that
Let's
far.
just
Looking at a month of time. So we should beat Fulham, but you know, at home I expect
that's
us
top
to.
4 right there.
Yeah.
Those 5.
listen. All we
West
need
Ham
to
away.
do.
It's not easy.
Back the team for those first 2 games. That first Champions League game, that game against Fulham. All they have to do is put 2 wins in. That'll change the mood in the club.
Well, by the time we get to
people will start to, you know.
Yeah, by the time we get to Dortmund away, we should have Reece James playing. He would have played at least had minutes in both of them games. Ben Chilwell, maybe not. We'll see. Maybe West Ham onwards. You know, Fofana's back in between. I'd say probably. West Ham.
We lost out on Gordon to Newcastle. Breaking news. We love to see it. We love to see it.
That's great, man. I'm happy for that. No links to Gordon anymore is like a blessing in disguise, 100%. And then we're going to the Champions League, and that's going to be an interesting one because they're not playing great, Dortmund themselves, and I think it's like 2 teams that are really not in great form. And then you've got obviously Southampton at home, which again, I'll be honest, I expect us to win. And then Tottenham away is a derby, you know, but you know, you just never know with Tottenham because we seem to always have one up on them. But we'll see. It'll be interesting, guys. But I do need to shoot now. It's nearly 5:15. I might be back tomorrow for a transfer show. So it depends what Chelsea do in the next 2 days or so. So I will try and see if we get a show on over the weekend as well, and discuss more on transfers. Obviously, deadline day we're doing a show, transfer deadline day show. We'll have a couple of people on and stuff. It'll be a bit like last time when we done the summer transfer deadline day. So it'll be a very busy one. And let's see what Chelsea do, guys. Let's see what Chelsea do in between that period. Chelsea are back next week, Friday as well. So we'll be working our way towards that match preview and talking on the pitch again as well. So, guys, take care of yourself. Thanks everyone that joined
Smash them
today.
likes, people.
Smash the likes. Take care.
Take it easy.
See you later.
Peace.
Peace.